Andrea Zittel, shown in Palazzo Pitti.
The decorativism of Haider Ackermann. Raf Simons, a fluorescent minimalist.
Andrea Zittel, American artist who makes objects and installations, exhibits her works at Palazzo Pitti. Like all representatives of her generation, immersed neck-deep in the conceptual art of Dadaist Marcel Duchamp, Zittel literally moves from A to Z, done right creating a brand based on the initials of her first and last name. In Florence, the artist shows off the two souls that distinguish her, one abstract and geometric, greedy for rationalistic schemes, and one instead which is more geologic, earthy, we could even say poor. In fact, Zittel has a lot of similar points with poor art, or anti-form, expression which was coined in 1968 by Robert Morris to certify the presence of organic elements in works of art. This two-facedness is reflected in the objects thought for domestic furnishing, from excavated tables to dresses in continuous alteration between regular weaves to biomorphic modules. The rest, even in her abstract patterns, Andrea Zittel maintains natural colors, typical of plant elements, wooden, chlorophyll-like. We ask her to explain the motive to this oscillation of hers.
I mean, historically, abstract and organic have always represented the two polar opposites, like rationalism or, natural and emotion and self-expression.
Zittel's environments lend themselves rather well to cross paths with a trend in play between the last generations. Poverty today intertwines to an imaginary that is more mediatic, dense with references to the worlds of music, cinema, and literature. The dead meat pushed forward the black slope of this trajectory towards organicism, swinging from a softer and more graphic pole to one definitely more splatter, as Vera Todaro tells us.
Giovanni and I are of opposite personalities, completely opposite. And it's nice to see how his ideas, if you want, can be much gloomier from a certain point of view. The truth is that they are mellowed down by a pencil treatment. That is one of the examples of our characteristics.
Our success is achieved also by people that are familiar with this reality. They know Kurt Cobain. They know the films of the authors that have directed important films like Blade Runner rather than Mad Max. And we add video games like Metal Gear Solid. Returning to Zittel, today you can carry out operations of land art, slightly heroic and slightly romantic to use her words. It's enough to connect to Google Earth and weave together plots of satellite pictures. In this way, though, the artist finds again ornamental motives, rediscovers symmetries that taste of cold Baroque in order to skid from the poor pole to that of the rich.
The pole of the rich, so. This is the operative frequency of Haider Ackermann, that conjugates a Baroque and lush vein with a push aimed instead to deconstruct clothing with visible strains of anti-form. Ackermann follows the trail of deconstruction like Ray Kurokobo and Martin Margiela, but does not renounce to the intervention with clear decorative ascensions, entrusted from time to time to Moorish, Indian, and Oriental metallic and mineral ornaments. And yet, it is not necessary to undertake geographical trips. Going back to the reason of this refound decorative vein, rich of references to the seasons of symbolism from Klimt to Gaudi, means to interrogate oneself on the basics that render its manifestation up to date. It means to discover a kinship with the visual forms of the electronic era, or rather with the pixel-made images that, in the case of leitmotiv, start from the clear and recognizable subjects, up to the point of crumbling in the plots of an electronic mosaic. With Andrea Zittel, formless and organic elements are contrasted in rigid, geometric modules. that have always been in the distinctive trait of Jill Sander. On her, the label of minimalism fits perfectly. Born in 1964 by the works of artists like Robert Morris, Donald Judd, and Sol LeWitt, minimalism advocated the use of polyhedrons ready to occupy space with the cumbersome presence of plastic forms. Jill Sander applies the same strict principle in the cuts, the use of black and in general the monochromeness. Raf Simons is an unfaithful minimalist, a fluid minimalist. It is difficult to split the Belgian designer of the fourth sex, that is, of perennially adolescent humanity, from the indefinite erotic, gender-bender connotations of productions that Simons realizes for his line. For the rest, his protagonists mirror the dictate of the trend to refuse the gaze of the voyeur. When people don't lay their eyes on us, they move away from sight, turn their back on us. They don't allow themselves to be seen. If it has to be minimalism, let it be as luminous and colorful as that of Dan Flavin, that lights up the gloomy geometries of colleagues with rather colorful neon lights. Here is the genesis and the genes of these collections, played upon acid dyes, saturated, super flat, as would say Takashi Murakami. The effect is perfectly neo-optical, similar by a tight kinship to the solutions of an artist like Peter Hawley.